If I were God, the vinyl tag. Vinyl tags are themes of record pulls, of record showcases that some wanker comes up with to get some attention, to become a god. This was started by the static traveler somewhere in England, Alan, father of those puppet creatures, Penn and Derek, the philosopher, the thinker of the vinyl community. He sits there and ponders life and the world and our existence. That's all he does. He takes a record and rarely talks about the music, talks about how and why does this record exist? So for you, Alan, I'm going to answer the 9 questions. If I were God. Now, I did ask him if you're an atheist or agnostic. You know the answer. So I'm going along. So if I had control of things, basically if I was a Putin or a Trump, and I could control everyone and make people believe something that isn't true and doesn't exist, that's what this is about. But it's actually pretty clever, and I do like these questions for the most part. The first question: show a record that you would improve by adding or removing a single track. Well, I'm taking 2 tracks and I'm adding them. And actually, Alan included this record as the answer to a different question of his. I'm taking the 1967 masterpiece, psychedelic pop masterpiece, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Parlophone Records, Capitol Records in the US, by the Beatles. The prefab, postfab 4. I would add the singles. I know that's not what they were doing, but when they started to make this album, the first 2 songs they recorded for what was going to be Sgt. Pepper were Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, and I would place them on this record. It's been spoken about before by others. It's not a new concept. Can you imagine Penny Lane and Sgt. Pepper mixed in with Strawberry Fields? Strawberry Fields, one of the greatest records ever made. Not necessarily songs, but the way that was put together, the way it sounds, it's magnificent. So I would add, if I had to add one, okay, I would add Strawberry Fields. But then Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane to this album would make it, of course, it would be too long, but there you go. Question number 2. Does God talk like that? Does he even talk? No, he doesn't, because he doesn't exist. Okay, show a record by an artist you would resurrect from the dead. Now, this is an obvious choice of those who know me, and it would be John Lennon. Give me some truth. Because we need an outspoken, creative, flawed artist like John Lennon to be here and to be our conscience in a way and come out and speak his truth and speak his mind. He would definitely be mellowed out now somewhat, but knowing John Lennon, he wouldn't shut up and he wouldn't keep quiet. We need John Lennon now more than ever. Musically, who knows? But just in the grand scheme of things, give me some truth, bring back John Lennon. Question number 3. What record that you own, meaning me, would you obliterate from the face of the earth, erasing all memories, all existence? It doesn't exist. It never existed. You never knew it existed. Now, the record I'm going to show, most of you don't even know it actually existed ever anyway. It's not one of these huge records that became, I mean, I would probably do, if I had a Ted Nugent record, I would definitely do that. But hey, I don't have any Ted Nugent records per se, at least as an artist. But one of my top 3 favorite bands made what I consider a terrible record. And to me, it could have almost ruined their legacy. It's their last official album, post to live and some, acoustic-y kind of unplugged type things with, what is it, Bones, Skin and Bones, whatever that album is called, something in Bones on CD. But the Kinks get signed to Columbia, put out Phobia. Now, I've showed this before, I've said how terrible this record is, and there's always someone out there that says, oh, but this cut's great, that cut's great. This is a piece of crap. They should have hung it up before this. But Phobia, I'm just afraid of that title. Out of here. Question number 4. Show a record cover which displays something of the power of nature, of my creation. If I were God, I created nature. I created mankind, womankind, the animals, the trees, the butterflies. And I think this is a beautiful cover, a beautiful illustration. That is Ghosteen by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. A beautiful, ethereal, gorgeous record. An all-time favorite record of mine. Look at that beautiful, ethereal, fairy tale painting of the creations that I created for the universe. Question number 5. Which 3 musicians would you Frankenstein together to create a super musician? Now, super groups have been around. Cream is considered a super group. Super Session, Mike Bloomfield, Stephen Stills, Al Cooper. Were they super? There's been a lot of creative super groups that have worked and some that have not worked. But I decided to go in a little different direction. Well, I don't know if this is a different direction because I haven't seen anyone do this yet. So this is my direction. It's different than what Alan put out. I picked 3 artists that lyrically have this wry, dark, sardonic sense of humor. They have a way with words, some culturally, socially, politically, some beautiful and sensual and sexual, some spiritual. And I decided to put these three together and see what they come up with. Not specifically in their musicianship, although 2 of them are really excellent piano players. But lyrically, it's all about the lyrics with these 3 people. They're funny, they're dark, what a sense of humor. They're just so poignant. And that is Leonard Cohen, one of the great poet, folk music, rock singers that lived amongst us. Warren Zevon, The Dark Side of LA. He wrote about sports and about social history and about world geopolitical ideas and situations. He wrote about sports. I'm not a huge sports guy, but the way he wrote about sports was clever. And lastly, but not leastly by any stretch, I'd say one of the best writers of Americana, of history, of politics, is Randy Newman. This is actually a great set, a 3-record set, where he, 4 records actually, I believe. These are all piano solo versions, his songbook, where he covers some of his best songs, solo piano. But his writing, the beautiful song about Louisiana in 1927, about the flood that really rekindled in 2005 after Katrina. His songs about rednecks, his songs about the slave trade in America. You get food to eat. Oh God, his Short People. I love LA. What beautiful songs he's written. Baltimore. He's got a beautiful piano style, as does Warren Zevon. So can you imagine having them write for you and play for you, and Randy Newman and Leonard Cohen and Warren Zevon? I mean, for me, that would be amazing. Number 6, Show a record by one male artist and one female artist you would save from the end of the world to entertain you forever. This is kind of like an Adam and Eve type thing. And I'm not thinking of the sexual. I'm thinking of two people who are great singers. One more than the other one, the female. One has a voice of an angel, and I would just love her to sing to me all the time. Not as much of a songwriter, although she wrote some songs. Another who's a great songwriter, an interpreter of other people's songs, who probably had one of the biggest back catalogs of songs he knew that he learned, traditional and otherwise. And I'm going with Johnny Cash and Emmylou Harris. She's got a voice of an angel. This debut, Pieces of the Sky, is so beautiful. I just love her voice. I'd love her to sing for me in the great beyond, if there was a great beyond. And Johnny Cash just to play his psalms and play his religious things. And I love the gospel of this, the country music. I'm going more the country folk scene with these two artists because there is a spirituality, even though maybe I'm not a believer in the almighty. Of course, I believe in myself, so, right? I just believe in me, Yoko and me. But these two records and their entire catalog, and just them playing for me. Oh, Emmylou Harris and the beauty vocals of Emmylou and the sort of the gruff darkness, singing about the devil and singing about hell and singing about violence in some cases, right? Prison life, Johnny Cash. Not much better. All right, number 7. Show a record that depicts one or more of the 7 deadly sins: lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, anger, envy, and pride. Now, of course, it's a typical male thing, thinking about lust. And I'm gonna go with one beautiful woman. I'm going with the lust, with 3 of her albums because of the covers. Now, there's a certain sensuality, sexuality about, some women portray in their music, in their records. Sex sells. But this woman had actually, past tense, even though she's still alive, one of the best and strongest voices in popular music. One of the great interpreters of other artists, including aforementioned Randy Newman, Warren Zevon. And that is Linda Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt, Lust. Linda Ronstadt, Lust. This beautiful woman, smart woman. She is her own woman. And that's what's great about her. She did what she wanted to, when she wanted to. Obviously, with Peter Asher as a producer, brought some songs, and occasionally some of the choices I would say are questionable. I'm not sure. Back in the USA, the Chuck Berry song really suited her, but when she decided to do an all-Spanish album, she fought her record company. When she decided to do the standards with Nelson Riddle, she fought her record company. She did Pirates of Penzance. You know what I'm talking about. Penzance, on Broadway. She did it, and she nailed it. What an amazing artist. It's a shame that she lost her ability to sing. But that's my lustful thoughts of Linda Ronstadt there. Amazing artist. Isn't getting a lot of love here, but the biggest selling artist of the 1970s, biggest selling female artist of the 1970s. Now, I lost my list. Here we go. God shuffled his feet and almost lost his list. Number 8, and listen to this carefully. Show a record by an artist who you would assign to hell forever for musical crimes against humanity. Well, Alan, I'm not sure about musical crimes, but just crimes against humanity as far as I'm concerned. And I don't have any of his albums, which is a great thing. But as you said, what maybe you have a record of theirs on a comp. Well, I'm going with a band, which actually I kind of like this band until the guy went out and become one of the biggest wankers ever in the music business. And that on this album is even not their greatest songs. On this album, the band is the Amboy Dukes, and the song on here is "Baby Please Don't Go." I mean, that's a cover, right? But they did that song, Something to Mind, great psychedelic pop song. Love that, garage rock, whatever. Love that song. But Ted Nugent, really, wanker, wanker, wanker. The depths of hell, burn them up, rip them apart, have like lions tear him limb from limb, and just eat out his entrails. And there we go. God can do that. I can do that. That's what God does. Basically, have him stand there and have those lightning bolts just go in his body and have him just evaporate into dust. See, God's not all like lovey-dovey here, apparently. And lastly, the last song. In your benevolence, which vinyl community channel would you bestow 1 million subscribers to so that they may never have to work again and indulge us with all their videos ad infinitum? It cannot be your own. Now, we want them to do whatever they want. We want these people to, I want everyone to succeed. If you create content and you have a creative edge and you have something extra to give, sometimes it's your knowledge of music, could be your personality, sometimes it's superficial as personality. If you're a beautiful man or beautiful woman, you have to have a je ne sais quoi kind of style or of substance. You're going to get noticed. I've had people that say, like, how can you get more people watching your video? Well, create content people want to watch. But I'm going to bestow this, and there's a link below to him. It's the Reverend Rock and Rollin'. He's at about 500, maybe to 600 subscribers. He's got a subtle, I love humor. He's got a totally different sense of humor than I do, but he's a smart man. He's nuanced. He's clever. You have to sometimes read between the lines with the Rev, but he deserves everybody looking for entertainment. His videos aren't too long like mine. In some cases, he's not as egocentric as I am, although, well, yeah, he is. I mean, any kind of person that does a certain kind of self-deprecating humor has to have a little of that ego thing going on. But the Rev, I love you, Rev. You crack me up. And he has a good camera, better camera than I have, or some of these other wankers doing these friggin' videos. Better than Alan, that's for sure. And he has no puppets, but I mean, ice capades and everything, ice castles and everything. I invented the ice castles. As God, I made the ice castles for humankind and for the animals and for the whales and for the polar bears. So the Rev, link below to his channel and go subscribe to it. Alan, you're the brain of the vinyl community, and I'm going to relinquish my godshipness back to you and to others. And thank you for watching. Namaste, Mazzy, and God and Jesus loves you.